Good morning, it's Tony Hayes from Paranormal Investigation UK. Today's date is the 8th of April 2022, and today we're looking at a further potential EVP from Somerset, paranormal reference Penni Wallace. Quite an interesting one, this. This is going to be labelled or titled EVP 7. We dealt with a couple of unusual captures by Penni over recent days. This one's done in the same church, which is just on the outside of the archway area, and there's a couple of benches. I find these areas quite interesting because if you think about it, you know, a church is a few hundred years old. That area there is generally where the priest or the vicar would stand, greet people going into the church, and do the goodbyes on the way out, and that could be weddings, and it also could be funerals. It's been a tradition for centuries that when you come out of the church after a funeral, for example, the priest will stand there, shake your hand. So a lot of emotion around the area, and you know, electronic voice phenomena could potentially be intelligent, but it equally could be residual, a sound from the past, the old stone tape theory. And it seems to be quite active around this particular area, which goes with the theory of the stone tape. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to prove electronic voice phenomena as an intelligent spirit, depending on what it says. If you ask it a question, what is 3 and 2, and it answered 5, then we can gather that to be intelligent. But if it's indifferent, then maybe not. So this is the interesting area of EVP, which is always fascinating. So that's the detail for that. So let's get straight into this and let's have a listen to this. Just play it again. Now what Penni said on her note was it's just before this crack sound. I was dealing with this in the last, which would be EVP 6. Almost like a static crackling sound. Wasn't a microphone strike, it was something else. And it's difficult to account for it, so I sometimes wonder what these actual sounds are, particularly if they're recorded on the same record. You can probably argue that it may be something to do with the record of the microphone, but if it's on multiple different recordings, then it isn't. Right, okay. Yeah, hear the crack sounds of possible EVP before it, and I think that is what I'm hearing. Yeah, just before the crack sound. That sounds like a child. Okay. This looks to be quite an interesting one. Okay. That there. I'm going to deal with this first. I think this is just the microphone being caught, to be honest. It's impossible to say, because when you put a recorder down, then when you finish the session, you switch it off, put it back in your pocket, you listen to it some hours later or the following day, then suggest, well, I didn't do that. It's impossible to say. This sounds to me like straightforward, something catching the mobile phone. You know, you can zip a coat up and just, you know, the part of the coat or whatever, just catch it. It's that type of thing. Accidental striking of the recorders happens all the time. And that's what it sounds like. Yeah, it's through on both sides of the stereo microphone as well, so yeah. It's all the way through the range, from 150 all the way past 10,000 hertz. That is something catching the microphone at the front of it. Will never ever, unless you've got a video showing that particular recorder sat there on its own with no one touching it, it'd be impossible to rule that as anything other than a rational explanation. It's just all the way through a steady frequency that suggests that it's just been struck by the front of it. You don't need to strike the microphone with much of an impact to make that sort of sound. But there is something before it, which I can hear. That's that very interesting, almost mechanical sounding, just voice that just seems to just drop in. Right. I'm actually going to use EQ to clean this up. There is a little bit of background feedback in there, but not enough to cause an issue. That hissing sound. Right, okay, let's drag that in. I'll just spin the analyzer up at the same time. Now, generally I've done so many. If that is a voice, we're going to be around about that area there. All these other frequencies, some of the low and a lot of the high, certainly up to I'll say 2K, all these can go out, because that will not involve the voice frequency. If you find this does adversely affect the voice, then it's not a voice. It could be pareidolia or something else. It may sound like a voice. Some investigators have suggested that the spirit has the ability to manipulate frequencies. What that is, it's trying to make something fit that doesn't happen. I've never come across an EVP, which is, I generally can say, yeah, I'm 99% certain it's an electronic voice phenomena, that doesn't fit in inside the human voice spectrum. That's how it goes. Anything that's indifferent to that, I won't consider it to be paranormal. It's normally something else. You've got devices such as text to talk apps and software. You've got the spirit boxes such as Echo Vox and a couple of the others that use an app to, like Ovilus 3, Ovilus 5, them type of devices. They use a synthetic voice. I can spot them a mile away. The range of frequencies is radically different. When we're dealing with true electronic voice phenomena, despite the if it is indeed a spirit that makes the electronic voice phenomena, is still within the human spectrum. And I think, as we go further on, all we can do is theorize what the mechanics are to able to do this, because obviously a ghost or spirit hasn't got a mechanical voice. Likewise, again, as I mentioned earlier, electronic voice phenomena could equally be residual, imprint, stone tape theory, ghost haunting, or it also could be an intelligent spirit with multiple voices. Could be a combination of the two. So even though we may say this is genuinely a electronic voice phenomena, we can't actually say if it's an intelligent spirit or a residual. So right, let's give this a go. With this type of software as well, I can, when I play it back, I can just simply take the EQ out, put it in to see if there is an improvement. EQ off. EQ on. Okay. I've not amplified it yet. And as you can see there, as I take the EQ off, there's no change. Listen to the voice. So I've not affected it. Now I am beginning to. That's completely disappeared. So within frequency, what they call a fundamental frequency, it's where it's peaked the highest, which is around about 400, which is there as you can see on the analyzer. So let's clear that. Oops, wrong one. So if I lift this up, you're going to hear it. It actually sounds like constantly. What I find unusual with this particular one is the amount of background feedback that's in there. I'll go back to flat again. what I'm actually going to do with this is, because I've now amplified it by about 16 decibels, I'm actually going to get rid of that together with a lot of that, because the crack I'm just going to put down to rational explanation. You can't prove either way with that one. I'll never be convinced that that's a paranormal one. It's different to what we'd normally see in the spikes or microphone strike. This is something else, that was. Oh. I've knocked off part of the sound. Right, I think the only way I'm going to be able to deal with that is to put that section back in, and then I'm actually going to time stretch it. I need to keep as much of the EVP as possible, but not have that massive spike that's in there. And the only way I can do that is, because we can hear it now, you will be able to hear it. I just realised something. If you listen very carefully, let's presume that I am right with the word being spoken constantly. As those syllables begin to be heard, what you hear is constantly, really loud, right at the same time as the big crack of sound, the one I'm saying that it's it'll have an irrational explanation. I may be wrong with that. So let's have a listen back again to this. Because what I can hear there is the constantly. You can argue that's 3 syllables, constantly. It's a lee that seems to be a massive increase in volume when you hear the crack sound. Constantly, that I've never come across before. This is the fascination with this sort of analysis, is that I've changed my mind. I've done a complete 180 where that's huge sound. I just put down as rational. Somebody, he's caught it, whatever. I think it's Penni's part of that. He just it's not paranormal, and suddenly you realise is that why is it the lee side so high in volume? Right, okay. That is strange. Let's take it to 200. That's 50%, sorry, 100% slower. We know where it is. It's there. So, whoops. That is so intriguing. The EVP itself, let's presume that it is a constantly. So if that's being spoken at the same time as, the guys caught the recorder, it would not affect the sound of the voice, it should be the same constantly. So is there a connection between the end, the last of the syllables, the lee, to the sudden increase in volumes constantly? That is strange, and I'm just looking at it now. The left hand side is quite high, almost going into the red. The right hand side 2/3 less. Why is that left hand side got so much frequency compared to the right? That line is left side, this side is right side. It's a stereo microphone, one microphone with two, we'll call them recording heads on top of it. I don't have an answer for that. That's at least 2/3 less volume than the left side. I'm just wondering if I can get rid of part of the crackle. Yeah, it's like constantly. Why is that the same time as that crack? If you've got any thoughts on this, shout out, because I don't recall ever having a single word with multiple syllables, such as constantly, and have them, if anything, it happens, they tend to begin to dissipate on the third syllable. So it may be constantly, the end bit falling away in volume, not the opposite effect here, which we've got a big increase in volume. And I don't seem to have any sort of jump with this frequency. It seems to just be spread all the way across. Almost like somebody sneezing, which helps the. This is really strange, you know. There's no massive peak in frequency. If I could, I be able to reduce that down. What I could try is yeah. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save this file. I'll call it sampled version 1. That's super strange. I'm going to bring wave pad in and to see if I can get get rid of some of the noise. That's generally where the sound is, so I can do a subtraction and say that area there. Okay. It's going to get a little bit better. Yeah, it's got a little bit better. I'll try to get rid of this end bit here. Let me just see how far the constantly word actually travels. Yeah, it's all the way through there. It's a little bit better. I can get rid of them. I'll never get rid of the crack. In fact, I'm pretty certain it was better before. Sometimes you can take noise reduction too far. Yeah, I'm going to save that file. What I'll do is save that. There's nothing much more I can do with that one. But it sounds like a child, female, saying constantly 3 syllables. So any thoughts on that one? Please put them in the comments box. See you soon. Bye.